And I'm going to put this in full screen. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Welcome. Welcome to Repurposer Pro 2025, third year running. I love to show people how easy it is to use repurposed materials, to repurpose materials, actually. We have so many free materials around us. I know that many of us are real full-time professional artists or even artist dabblers, but we don't all have to go out and get our paint and things like that. So what I'll show you today, you should be able to use in your practice, whether you're a more of a traditional artist or you're a mixed media artist. But
Natalia, can I ask you a question? All I see is you frozen on the screen. Is it me or is everyone else just experiencing you not speaking?
Oh, you know what? I will hold on. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to spotlight myself for everyone.
Oh, great.
There,
now
yeah.
I see you. Thanks.
Better.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. The only other thing that I will ask you all, please, if your name is not on your screen, can you rename yourself with at least the first name so that when I'm talking to you, I can actually call you by your name instead of, you're all in different squares here. So it's much better if I can. And if you don't know how to rename yourself, it's the three little dots. If you look at your image on the screen, there's three little dots, usually in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on that, you should be able to rename yourself. And if you cannot, just speak up and say something and I'll help you out. And I have my kid disguised here, so she'll help us out too. All right. And feel free to pop in your questions in the chat as we go. And I'll go pretty fast, but I'll be able to get back to the chat and ask questions too. All right. So there we go. Okay. Can you still see me?
Yes.
All good? Okay, great. All right. So first off, I want to make it clear, as you probably all suspect, no free workshop is without a hook. So my hook is that I'm going to be telling you about my Repurposer Collective. The doors to the collective will open on October 4th. But I'll tell you about that all later. And just an FYI, there are a few members of the Repurposer Collective here in the workshop today. So even though everything that they're going to learn today is already in the Repurposer Collective, it's always fun to see it from a different perspective and taken in a slightly different context. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is when we use repurposed materials for our art practice, not only are we doing something good for our planet, which is something that most people always say, we're also doing something good for us because the planet is going to be fine without us. After we all perish, the planet will still be here and be plugging along. So we need to save the planet so we can save ourselves. And every little bit counts. Whatever we can do, we have to do it. That's my opinion. So I hope you share in that opinion. All right. So I'm going to ask you all for just a quick show of hands if everybody has the materials that I asked you to collect, just so that if I see that everyone is missing something, then I can, skip around it or something. So soft plastic packaging, everybody's got that? Yeah, that's the easiest one, right? How about plastic mesh? Okay, I see most hands up. All right. Fabric scraps? Maybe that's the easiest. Yeah, I see more hands up. Okay. What about paper scraps? Oh, good. All right. And thread waste? Ah, okay. Plus plastic bubble mailers. Everybody's got that? Awesome. That's going to be our substrate that we will be working on. And then all you need is some leftover paint. So I hope some people have that. Usually acrylic paint or house paint works best. Glue stick. Everybody's got a glue stick? Hope so. And needle and thread. Oh, good. Awesome. And scissors, of course. Just a pair of sharp craft scissors will do. So the other thing is, it's one thing to just kind of watch, and I'm sure some of you will just be watching, but it's much better to actually participate and work with me as I'm working too. We're not looking for a finished project here at all, but hopefully you'll have a few pieces started so that you can finish them after the work. And, you know, you could take notes as well. That's up to you. But I really think that when you're actually working with your hand, your memory is better. It works much better that way. Okay, so we'll start with the bubble mailers, and I'm going to turn on my camera here so you can see. There we go. And now I'm going to pin that instead. So I'm going to remove spotlight and I'm going to pin my camera instead so that you all see it. Okay. Everybody see my bubble mailers?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So all you need to do is just cut them into smaller pieces, as I mentioned on the email you got and on the web page. Mine are mostly like, I don't know, they're about 8x6, 7x5, something like that. It's not really important whether they're the exact size, but just so they're small and you can work with them. So the first thing we're going to work with is single-use plastic. So single-use plastic, as some of you already know, is one of my favorite materials. I love to cut off letters and make graphics with those, and not just letters, but images as well. All of these little guys, all of this is good material. And if you're curious why I have chip bags here, well, believe it or not, chip bags also have plastic in them. They're lined with plastic, so I consider them plastic. They're a little more fragile, as in they'll rip a little easier than this kind of plastic, but they're totally usable. So the first thing I want to show you is, first of all, plastic cuts up really, really easily, and you have great colors in it. So the first thing plastic is good for, and my favorite way to use it is really just as collage. You can cut it apart really easily. If you have a pair of sharp craft scissors, it will all just cut very easily. You can almost slide it with your scissors. So here, you can see I can just, if I'm holding two pieces together, I can just slide. And this is a chip bag, so it's a little bit thicker, but as long as your scissors are sharp, you can just slide them along and it's super duper easy. So collage is what I'm starting off with here. And I am just sort of randomly picking up pieces that I think will coordinate. So the blue with a slightly, I don't know, beet. I guess it is, it's a beet bag. So beet red. You can just pick and choose the colors you have and make a collage just like you would with paper or with fabric. Plastic is completely wonderful for collage. So as I'm working on here, I am not concentrating on making the most perfect artwork. This is the purpose here is just to show you what can work. So let's see, what else can I add from my stash here, which I actually very purposefully limited to myself. So I'm going to cut a piece of white because I want to show you the transparencies of plastic, which is one of my favorite things to play with when I am working with plastic. So you see how bright these colors are right here, especially that blue. If you take this plastic, which is white, but it's translucent, and you layer them over the bright colors, do you see how they become so muted? They almost disappear. And that's a really wonderful thing because you can use it to disguise certain areas, or you can use it to change the color completely. So here's another plastic piece. So this one has a stripe on it. And look how it changes things. So if I pick up this stripy piece of plastic, can you see that it's stripy? There. Look how it changes everything. I'm going to see if I can get this a little closer. Come on. Oh, it won't let me. Okay. But you see the subtle differences that can happen? And again, glue sticks are super duper easy to do this. So cut up some pieces of plastic with me and let's just glue them down onto your substrate. Now, I like to use my glue very lightly because usually I add some stitching to my piece. And if I have too much glue on there, my needle will get goopy, whether I'm using a sewing machine or hand stitching. But using a glue stick, a little bit of it is just enough to keep things from moving too much. So you can, of course, not do that at all. You can just pin if you have, pins for your sewing. You can just use those and pin everything down. But it works smoother when it's all just lightly glued on with a glue stick. So I'm just going to do. I think I'm just going to add a pop of green on there. So one of my favorite things to use is the paper towel bags. It's, Bounty. What do they say? The quicker picker upper. And it's whatever you
Could
call it.
everyone mute because every so often their picture shows up instead of us being able to watch you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I pinned myself. Let me make sure I'm spotlighted too. That shouldn't. There we go. Yes. Okay. Continue. There we go. All right. Can everybody see this? All good? Okay. Now you're all muted. So a thumbs up would be great. Okay. So again, I'm just doing the basics. What I would love about the paper towels is look, there's a pattern on there too. Whoop, there we go. There's the camera. So it's got like a quilted pattern, which is always a wonderful little detail to work with. So I'm just going to add a piece right here. So I hope everyone is working on a small collage there. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of a bright color. So these chip bags, they're really great. Just make sure to lightly clean them because, greasy chips on the inside. Usually a soapy rinse or just a slightly soapy sponge does the trick. So there we go. So let's pretend that this is my fabulous collage, and it's a lot more artistic than this. Here we go. Okay. So glue sticks, collage, all great. Now, the other thing that I want to add to this is I do a lot of graffiti inspired artwork because I collect letters from various bags and I spell out my own graffiti on it. So I already have sweet and crunchy on here. Maybe I can add love. Maybe I have enough letters here to add a word. So this is one of the things that I love to pick through. Like these are a little bit too big for our collage today, these bounty letters. Oh, here's a smaller one. So I can get an O from here. But I love to save a lot of letters. And I have a whole box of them that are just letters. And they're great for collage. To me, I call it graffiti inspired collage, or I could call it ransom letters. Let's see. Can I find a V? A V is hard to find usually. Or maybe not. Oh, Wall Street Journal. I got W's, not B's. Let's see. All right. Well, A big M will do us. Here we go. I have an M, or an M or a W cut apart will make a V. So I'm just going to cut this apart. And there we have a V. And now I just need an E. There we go. Here's a good E right here. And yes, my table very quickly gets very, very messy and covered with materials. But there it is. Okay. So anybody else cutting off some letters for a little graffiti?
Don't have any.
Don't have money letters? Yeah, sometimes it's not easy to find letters. But this will give you an idea for later. I know some people have been saving quite a few letters. But so we have sweet and crunchy love here. Okay. So there's my very basic graffiti collage. And I have buried my little cheat sheet. Oh, there it is. There's my little cheat sheet. Okay. So the other thing that I like to do, and I'm doing this in the order that I like to work with, is I like to add a little stitching to it and threads. So I actually had a hard time finding non-variegated threads in my stash. I love variegated thread. Most of my thread is variegated. So even this gray is a variegated thread. I just love the color that I can get with variegated thread. So I'm just going to go with this pink thread. And I'm going to thread my needle. Now, your needle just needs to be nice and sharp. I like to use needles that are called sashiko needles. Those are my favorite needles to use. They're really good quality, whichever brand you get them from. And they're usually fairly easy to thread. So I like to use those, but they don't need to be, I don't know if they make titanium needles. So they don't need to be anything fancy. Stitching through plastic is super duper easy. So I'm just going to put on my thimble because I cannot stitch without my thimble. The most basic thing you can do is just do a very simple running stitch. So I'm just going to outline my letter here. And you're just poking it through and poking it under. And the bubble mailer, the bubbles are just bursting in there, and that's okay. So just take a few stitches through your plastic, just so you have an idea of what it feels like. So if you use even less glue than I did to attach your pieces, by stitching through your pieces, you're attaching them really, really well. They're not going to go anywhere. I frequently, when I work, not as fast as I'm working today, I will not use any glue at all, and I will just hold everything in place with my stitching. So let me just give you a small peek at my favorite kinds of stitches that I like to use. So this is my little stitch sampler. Your basic running stitch all around. I also just love the basic, I call it the chicken scratch stitch. So all the stitches going into random random directions. And for me, the key to making the chicken scratch stitch work is really just making the directions as random as possible. Now, this is a pretty neat square that I've made on here. But you can actually change the size of your stitching. You can change the size of your the size of your thread. You can vary this in many ways. And this is all those stitches layered really thickly. I also like to use this, what I call my cross stitch, just making little X's. And French knots, of course. French knots are wonderful on just about everything. All right, anybody take some stitches? Can I get a thumbs up? Anybody? I got a thumb up. I got one thumb up.
I just use pins.
Okay, pins are good. Pins are good too. All right, I'm just going to take a sip of water. So let's move on to plastic mesh. I'm just going to move some stuff off my table here. Give myself some room. Go. Okay. So plastic mesh is such a fun, versatile material. There's so much of it. It's really quite ridiculous. Whoops, my light just went flying. Pardon me, 1 second. Okay. Stay up. Okay. Well, got to have some sort of an accident somewhere, right? No. Okay. So this is just a small portion of my collection. I don't understand why things need to come in this plastic mesh, but they do. And that just gives us more plastic, more good art material. You can actually find gradations of every color and do the whole rainbow in mesh. I have done that in the past. And the plastic mesh looks really great layered over the plastic, of course. You can cover up, you can shade. So if you have black mesh, or actually any color mesh, but you can do nice shading if you do nature-inspired artworks. You can do lots of greens and you can do lots of shading. They're really wonderful to use just as is. So one thing that I definitely do is I definitely add it on top of my plastic, and that's really wonderful to see. But we can also just do the mesh on its own. Now, there's different kinds of mesh. There's this, which is kind of more like a woven mesh, and some of it even has a clear plastic part to it in a few spots. And then there's the stretchy, meshy mesh. There's a word. Now, this is a little bit more of a pain in the you-know-what to attach. So let's start on this piece with this black piece of mesh. See, I did not bury my scissors, so thank goodness for that. Okay, so I'm going to cut my piece of black mesh almost to the size of my substrate here, my next bubble mailer. So I'm going to start with the black in the background. And for this mesh can work with glue stick, just a little bit in the corners is what I'm going to do here. And that'll be enough. Oops, there's a piece of orange stuck underneath. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, let's make this one into a landscape. So we can do green grass here. Here's a smaller piece that's already attached. So this is another one of those woven meshes. And if I put it down as a single piece, you can see the green on top of the black. But if I fold it, You see how much richer that color gets? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to fold it, but not completely in half. And so now you can see that I have a gradation from a darker, brighter green to a slightly lighter green. And I'm just going to pin this in place. And on a piece that's small like this, I really don't need to pin it very often. So just 2 pins will do. Now I can take more green and layer over the whole thing. And then you can see how my gradations are even more intense. But I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to bring in some yellow. So this is a yellow mesh that's really stretchy. And if you stretch it really, really far as you can do it, it almost disappears. And sometimes actually what I have done is I have used this as tool over paper or something a lot more delicate. But this really works. Whether it's tight, you can not stretch it and use it tighter, but once you do stretch it, it will never come back to the complete tightness that you see here. So like this is an orange mesh that has not been stretched, and this is the yellow mesh that has been stretched. This yellow will never go back to the way this orange is. So you have to think about these things ahead of time when you're putting these things together. So let's see. I think I will do a sun just so that you can see. So I'm folding this in half and I'm cutting a circle. So I'm putting in my sun here, and now I'm going to cut a circle of yellow. And let's see. So I'm folding this in 4. And I'm going to try to cut a smaller circle and then open it up. So this is you can see the yellow layered over the red. It's a really gentle gradation. And I can add a little more. Here I have a different red. This one is more of a meshy red. This one actually disintegrates quite a bit when you're working with it, so you have to be careful. But I'm going to cut even a smaller sun circle here and put it in the middle so you can see the different gradations. So see how that looks? So the mesh is a much more delicate thing to work with than the plastic. This is great. This is really bold and you have to work to tone it down. And here you have to work to make it bolder. So I'm just going to pin this in place here. Now, the mesh is a little bit difficult to stitch by hand because it's mesh. It's really simple like that. So I'm going to take my pink thread from that piece and I'm just going to stitch around the sun. I'm going to stitch in the center here just to show you. So if I was stitching this for an artwork for a series of mine, I would actually do this by machine. This kind of mesh over here, the ones that's kind of a woven mesh, that's pretty easy to stitch by machine. I have no problem getting it snagged. But if I have many tiny pieces of mesh through here, I would suggest that you layer a piece of clear plastic over it, just the whole thing, and then stitch by machine right over the plastic. And that actually is a really good way to stitch. It gives a little more shine to your work, but it works really, really well. And then you can cut away the plastic in certain areas. So I'm just going to secure this sun of mine here with a few big X stitches. And they're barely noticeable here because I'm using pink thread. But the bigger the stitch you can do, the better this will be secured. And the stretchier mesh, if you're using it in large areas, it's best if you have many pins holding it in place. The glue will not work on the mesh. So you need to pin it many times and stitch it down or trap it with translucent or clear plastic. So I lost count, I think about 5. Maybe this is my 6th large X stitch. And this is good to go. It's nice and secure. All right, while I have this thread here, I'm going to show you how I secure my thread on the back of the plastic. So it's plastic. If you pull the thread too much, you're going to rip the plastic. So I like to take one big stitch, push it through, leave the loop here, and loop my needle through that loop at least once, but twice is better. And then pull it through, but pull it through carefully so that I am not pulling it enough to rip the plastic, and then let it be. It could be a bit of a loose knot, but it's better than no knot at all, and it's better than pulling it really tight and ripping it. Okay, how am I doing on time? Okay, we're halfway through. Okay, my next material that I love to layer and that works really, really well with plastic and plastic mesh is fabric scraps. Now, I don't work with fabric very often these days, but I still have my scrap basket. I haven't given it all away. And what I love about fabric is exactly its scrappiness. Like, I love this piece that was cut off from a selvage. Selvage edges are really wonderful. I love that rough edge. And I even love when there's nice fraying edges. You will never catch me with perfect edges. I am a big fan of frayed edges of all type. So let's see. I'm going to make a very simple fabric collage here. And I'm going to layer it with plastic and plastic mesh just to show you how it can work. So this is, I love my some selvage, and there's some selvage on here as well. By the way, sharp craft scissors work really well on fabric as well as plastic, but don't use your good fabric scissors on the plastic because you will ruin them. Okay, let's see. What else do I have? Oh, there's a little piece of painted fabric. Here's a piece of some bedding. Oh, that's nice. I like that. And there's a little piece of velvet. Should I go for the velvet? It's a little dark. It's almost black. Let's see. Here's a piece of a woven, I think it was a twill. I don't remember my fabric names anymore, but this is lovely. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to overlap it with this. So I'm going to trim this. Clearly, I have stripes on my mind today. I don't know why. So here, you can use a dab of glue stick to hold your fabric together, but somehow that just seems wrong to me. Maybe because I've been a clothing maker, a costume designer for many years, so I have to pin my fabric. But you do you, and if you want to glue it, that's totally fine. I'm going to tuck this piece under here and see the overlap. That's really nice. And I'll bring this up over here. A little bit of an angle. I'm not going for perfect stripes these right now like I did with the plastic. So just pinning it here. And I think I'll go for an angle this way. Yeah, this looks good. Just go fast and just follow your eye and just, whatever your eye is telling you it looks good, that is all that's good for now. Because we're just playing here. This is not serious art making. This is just playing for now. So don't stress over your composition. Just put things together however they flow. So I have this piece here. I think I'm going to use another one of these selvages and sneak it in under here. Yes, I like that. Let's do that. So just going to pin that in a few spots. And I have this section here. Let's see, do I have a good piece of something? Will this work? Oh, this kind of fits in. Oh, maybe I'll do that. There we go. I'm going to sneak this under there. I'm going to remove this pin so that I don't stitch it in place. There we go. This is some kind of a heavier, more upholstery type fabric. Okay. So there's my composition. Nothing too grand, but working for this. Now, I can stitch this together as is, but I want to show you that I can add a couple of pieces of plastic in here, and that will work really well, and mesh as well. So let's see. I have some of this purple here. Maybe I'll cut a couple of corners. I have some nice angles going in here. Maybe I'll add a couple of angles of purple here. Yes, I think that'll be nice. And now this is where I am going to use just a little bit, because this is a thick piece of plastic. And it's actually double, so I'm going to cut off the excess here. So I don't want it to be too thick. But thicker pieces of plastic can be a little bit hard to pin through. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on that one. And then I'll do one more. This is also a bit thick. So just a simple composition. Okay, there we go. Maybe they're sailboats. But plastic works just as well with fabric as just keeping it only fabric. And you can also add a little mesh. Mesh works well with fabric too. So I'm going to cut this mesh here. Let's see. I feel like this little collage has a purple feeling to it, so I'm going to go with it. Okay. So you can see I can do it as a shading. So here's my little purple triangles on that green. They're pretty stand out. If I add a layer of this purple mesh, it kind of blends them in, gives it a little shine as well. If I add that purple here, it makes this whole section darker too. Can you see that? Gives it a little shine as well. And then here I have, this is all white linen here. So if I add my purple here, it becomes a whole other shade here. I actually think I need to use something different. See, I have a piece of black mesh here. Oh, I don't know. This kind of looks rather sophisticated. I kind of like it. All right, I'm going to use this black mesh here. And I'm going to use the purple mesh as well. And I think I'll fold it to make it even a little darker. I need another pin here. Okay, so there's my little composition that started with fabric, and I added plastic and plastic mesh. Did anyone else come up with a fabric composition? Oh, I see Kate's got something in her hands. Ooh, the plastic composition. All right. Very nice. Any questions so far from anyone? Oh, there are some things in the chat. Let's see. Let me just quickly take a look in the chat. Oh, okay. Jackie's just watching. That's fine. Darlene is watching too. Oh, your studio is a disaster? You haven't seen mine yet. Oh, you like how, Carol, like how the mesh makes everything pixelated. Yes, I like that too. Wonderful. Okay. So next on my list, I'm just going to shove my fabric scraps out of the way. This table will be a disaster by the time I'm done. But I'm going to move this to the side. Here we go. Move this to the side. I'm going to have 3 compositions to finish afterwards. Okay. Pin hiding. Thread over here, glue stick. I don't want to lose my scissors or glue stick. Very important. Okay. Paper. Now, I don't work with paper very often, but I do love the paper textures. One of the things that I really love is paper that's been ripped out of a wire notebook, and it has this lovely edge. And also ripping paper is just as much fun as ripping fabric to me. It's that sound of the paper ripping is just so lovely. I also use a lot of wax paper or butcher paper or freezer paper to line my table when I'm working with paints. And that gives me really wonderful colors on a lovely texture. Like this one, you can see that I painted the edge of something. You can see my paint on the sides. So that's great paper to use in a collage. Like, look at this lovely edge here. It's very quiet gradations of color, but they're really lovely. I'm also a fan of ripping my paper edges as opposed to cutting, because I like the messier edges first. So this is a piece of wax paper with some paint on it, and this is a piece of freezer paper with some paint on it. So let's make a composition. These are great. I was looking for a color to paint the wall. I have all these paint tabs. So let's use one of those. Seems to be gravitating towards darker compositions. So let's see, what can we do here? Paper bags are great. And what I like to do with them actually is wrinkle them up. It gives so much more texture, really wonderful texture. So I'm just going to peel this bag apart. Actually, I think this will be a very nice background for this composition that I'm thinking of right now. Well, let's see. Oh, the sound of paper. Okay. You see the wrinkliness of it? Isn't that a wonderful, wonderful texture? Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to rip this a little bit smaller. Okay. And these scraps I will not be throwing away because they'll be good for something else later. So layering this over here. I want to use this. I want to use this ripped edge. I really like that. So maybe I'll line that up right here. I still tend to be starting things with a stripe, but that's fine. This is a good strip, nice and shiny, fun. I do have this strip that I really like, so I'm going to use that here. Maybe I'll put that over this section here, and this can go here. And I love these. This is called plum brown. It's beautiful. Can I get a better edge by ripping it right through it? Yes. Oh, that's a nice edge. So maybe I'll add a little bit here, and I'll go for this purple more. What is this one? Expressive plum. It's all about plums, this piece. Maybe I'll put that here. Okay, so you can pin your paper collage, but again, this of course is the opposite. It works best with a little bit of glue stick. So I'm going to take it apart, and glue it back together. A little bit more glue for this one. And yes, this purple glue will dry clear. Also, oh, well, I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, what I was going to say is glue and plastic don't play too well together because the plastic is impermeable and it makes it so much harder for the glue to dry if the air can't get to it. So that's the reason for using very little plastic, very little glue when you're working with plastic. Okay. Oh, yes, I know I was going to do this up here. Oh, this goes here. Oh, I think I want it here now. I'm changing my mind as I'm gluing it back together. I like this, and I think I'm going to use this, and then I'll put this layer over it. Yeah. Keeping this very, very simple. Oh, I like some, oh, you know what? This has a little bit of this, this scanner code. I think I'm going to put that right here. So very simple collage, not exactly, you know, a wow, but good enough to explain what I'm doing here. So here's my, I'm going to just rip this edge here. So you can glue this much better and leave it as a collage as is. But what I want to show you again is how it works well with plastic and mesh. I will be bringing my plastic back all the time. All right, so here I have this. If I use this, this will brighten things up here. So let's see, maybe I can cut off a strip right here. And see if I add a little bit of brightness. Oh, that'll be nice. I think I want to cut a few more strips. Let's see. Oh yeah, I like that. So just a little bit of brighter color strips. This one's got too much writing on it. I want to use one that doesn't have that much writing on it. Like this one right here. This is good. I like that. Actually, I think I can tuck it under this paper. Look how nice that looks. It makes it softer. Okay, so here's my little bit of plastic that I'm adding to my paper collage. Oh, you know what? I'm going to sneak it under here, under these dots, under these little holes in the paper. That'll be nice. There we go. Oh, I like that a lot. That gives it much more interest. And here I will use this here. That's nice. And then I will use this here. All right, so this is plastic added to it. And then, of course, you know what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a little bit of plastic mesh. So one thing when you're stitching paper, whether you're stitching by hand or by machine, some papers can get destroyed by too much stitching. If you have too many stitches going on, you can see the paper will start getting softened in, or some paper will just start ripping apart. Mesh is a great way to keep that paper under control. So what I can do is actually can take a piece of mesh and put it over the whole thing. And do you see how it just makes it a little more gold-like? It's hard to see, but it really gives it a really nice textural look to the whole thing and just tones down the color all in yellow here. And of course, if I do red, you can see that. It just changes the whole thing. So, but what you can do, I just moved that. you can do is you can add some shading with the different colors. So let's see. I want to shade a little bit. I'm going to take a little strip of this red. I like to rip sections of mesh. Look what a nice wispy look that gives it. It's not easy to rip the mesh in any premeditated way. It just rips how it rips. You could cut it and then, you know, you can have really nice, neat strips if you cut it. But I really love that it gives me these wispy ends and gives it a lot more texture. So what I would do here is pin the mesh in place, because this kind of mesh will not stay on well with glue. Okay. Yes, my pins are mostly bent. That's just how nice I am to my pins. It happens. They still work. Okay. So in this case, just a few wisps of mesh, and I would stitch these down with just a running stitch or a machine stitch if you wanted to do machine stitches. So here are 3 collages that I've made so far. So first we have the plastic collage. Oh, actually 4. Ha, I can't count. So here's my plastic collage. Then my mesh collage. Then my fabric, plastic, and mesh collage. And this is the paper, plastic, and mesh collage. So what I haven't shown you how to use so far, this does not want to stick. I think I'm going to pin it together, is I have not shown you how to incorporate thread waste to this. So let me just look at the time. How are we doing with time? We're doing, oh, all right. Well, I warned you we're going to be running late. So this is, I hope you can stick around. Okay. So mesh. So thread waste. I have a whole container of it. Now, thread waste is, unless you're keeping this in a container like this, it's very hard to keep from flying away. So you can use like school glue or a matte medium to glue it down, and it becomes a hard surface. But the way I like best to use it is to trap it under the plastic mesh. So let me go back to this piece. And you can do this with paper, with plastic, with fabric. You can do it with all of it. So I'm going to cut a piece of green here. So here's my background. Let's try to do some trees or an interpretation of trees. You can be a lot more precise with laying out your thread waste. I'm not going to be too precise for the sake of time. Going for tree-like compositions here. Maybe they're, oh, I don't know. Maybe they're evergreens or just bushes. That's fine too. So I'm going to vary it a little bit going down here. So, and then I'm trying to stick with the darker color of my thread waste, partially because it'll be easier for you to see. Okay, so now, once I lay out my thread waist however I wish to, I can just put a layer of plastic mesh over it, and that traps it. And now I can do, with this kind of mesh, I can do even machine stitching, but I can do hand stitching pretty easily, and I can add to the thread waist and accentuate it. Now, with this green thread waist over this, it sort of disappears, and all the lovely colors that I had going on in the thread waist are not seen as much. And sometimes you can't quite tell until you put them down, but you can see I have some really wonderful colors in here. So I'm going to use something a little bit wispier. So this yellow mesh is actually probably better suited for this, really stretched out, because you can see the thread waist much better when I use a yellow mesh like this. You see that? So you want to play with the kind of mesh that you're using, depending how much you want to cover up or reveal. And let's see. So thread waist can be here. So here you can do a little bit of thread waist on a piece like this. So here I have some brighter thread waist from my embroidery threads. I could see stretching them. This is more of just an abstract composition. So I can see stretching out some thread waist here like this. That actually brightened things up in this composition for sure. Maybe not that orange thread, but just a little bit like this. So see, makes it really nice and lovely. So what you can do to trap this thread waist here is you can use fabric tulle, but if you have plastic mesh, you can just use plastic mesh. It's not as fine as tulle, but it works just fine. So I'm going to try to use this white mesh. That traps it, that covers it up a little too much. I don't like that as much. I might have to go for the yellow. Oh, but this pink over here that I ripped before, I'm going to cut a sliver of it. So sometimes it's good to match your mesh to the color underneath. So because of these threads are mostly pinky and red, I'm going to use this. Yeah, this is much better. Look how much better this mesh covers these up than the mesh I tried using before. This mesh is really fine and it disappears. And if I stretch it, it becomes even more invisible. So if I layer this mesh over the thread is still visible and the mesh is trapping it, and I don't have to worry about the thread slipping away. So I would just pin this into place and add stitching to it. Oh, I have a pin in here. Okay. And then I would add stitching to it. And I would add a piece of the same mesh up here. Here, I'll just do it and show you. So this is the case for better to cut a piece than rip a piece. And then stretch it. So it's a little more invisible. And add it to here. So yeah, in this case, this red mesh really works well here. Okay. So the only thing I haven't shown you so far is how to use paint in all of this. Everybody want to stick around for me to show you this? Because it's been an hour. Can I get a thumbs up? All right.
Yes.
Okay, and a good yes, good loud yes. Okay, so let me take this back I'm going to put my mesh away. Okay, back to this collage. Now, I like to use, these days I very rarely use paint, but sometimes just for the fun of it. And I like to use freezer paper underneath just to keep my table cleaner. Let's see. I like to use a palette knife, although brushes are fine too. So I'm going to squeeze out, let's see, is there anything left in this tube of, yes, there's some left. So here's a little bit of red. I like to use the paint after, oops.
But if you want,
I'm just gonna, somebody's unmuted.
I already dumped your cookie plastic.
All right. Hold on one second. Monica, can you mute whoever that was? I'm having a trouble finding that. Okay, so I like to use older paint, and I like to usually use the paint after I have stitched my plastic because it gives it more texture for the paint to react to. I also like to use a palette knife. If you don't have a palette knife, but you bake cakes and you have one of those spatulas for spreading frosting, that works just as fine. I don't like to layer a lot of paint over the plastic because acrylic paint, especially, it is basically liquid plastic. And if it's really goopy, it will flake off. If it's just lightly put on, it will stay on there. And actually, in some cases, it will even act as a glue. So you can see that I'm just rubbing it on gently. And it just gives this sort of like a painterly texture. If this was stitched, which it barely is, but you can see it a little bit. I stitched very little here. But you can see how the stitch lines, the stitches pick up the paint, and it gives it a really nice textural quality. So there's a little bit of a white here. That's because the paint didn't get there because of the stitch. So the more the surface is stitched, the better, the more textural the paint of an effect the paint will achieve. But it also is a really nice way to mess up a more pristine piece of plastic to cover something up. And also, if you take a piece of paper or another piece of plastic, and before the paint is dry, if you press it over, you can take some of the paint off and get another piece of paper that's good for another collage. You can take off the excess that way. So that's how I used to like to use paint on my plastic. You can also use paint, of course, on your paper, on your fabric collage as well. You can see that it adds really nice, just very lightly. Like I said, I don't like to goop it up. I just want to do it very lightly. And you can see the textures you can create. Changes things up. Oh, my thread wasn't stitched on there. And here it is over the mesh. So I'm only using red. You can't see really, you can't, if I used more appropriate colors for this collage, it would make a more effective change, but you can see this just so it gives you an idea. So here's my paper collage. All right, do I have another paint? Maybe I can use, oh, I have some black. Is this black? Yes, this is black. Let me squeeze out a little black. Quickly clean my palette knife. Okay, so again, just a little bit of black. I like to use it where it can create most textural patterns. That's why I'm brushing them against these little holes. You can also use it against an edge. Start by adding just a little bit. So here I'm adding it just to the mesh. And it's just little dots of it here and there. And that is just a nice enough effect. This piece keeps coming off on me. So there's plenty of paint here. But if I add just a little bit and mess up my little pristine piece of plastic here and add it a little bit to this speckled edge, especially if you like really highly abstract artworks and highly textural artworks and graffiti inspired artworks, this is a good way to add a lot of texture. I actually can see myself having trouble stopping and wanting to continue this. Now I'm wishing I had stitched it all down already and I didn't have the pins in place. But I really like that little bit of blackness that I added to here. Clean off my palette, a little more darkness here, a little more darkness here. All right, these are my most favorite materials to use. Now, I'll be happy to answer any questions. So let's see. I'm going to switch my camera. I'm going to take this pin spotlight off. I'm going to spotlight myself here. Okay. Can I answer any questions for anyone? And also, did any one of you go through your stash and come up with a material that you wanted to stump me with? I can speak. Okay. So 1 second. Why is my mouse not working here?
Natalia,
Yes.
if you use machine stitching, I can speak too. Do you use a long stitch so that you don't destroy the substrate, whether it's paper or plastic?
So it really depends what I'm trying to achieve, but my favorite way of stitching is thread painting, which means my feed dogs are down and I use an embroidery foot so that my foot is not pressing my material down. So it can move over things, and I am moving the material under the needle because my feed dogs are down. So I can either let it be small stitches if my foot is not too heavy on that pedal, or use the machine slower and move it under faster, so some bigger stitches. So I can do both. I will frequently layer stitches, so I will start with some longer stitches and then I will layer some smaller stitches over it if I wanted to cover more area with machine.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Anybody else? No questions? How is that possible? Is there anything in the chat? No, I think I covered everything. Does anybody have something to stump me with? Willie, can you unmute yourself? Oh, is that Sharon?
I don't know why it says Willie.
I was like, I don't remember a Willie signing up. Hi, Sharon. What's your question?
Was this be a good substrate?
Is that a plastic folder?
Yes. It's like a plastic folder. And it's got this little tab on it.
Okay. So yeah, it would make a good substrate. I think it might be a little bit difficult to stitch through though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you're stitching by hand, I would definitely use a thicker needle and a thimble, and you might even need to use like a pliers or a needle puller. I think it depends how much you layer on it, but it could be a little bit difficult to stitch through
Okay.
by hand for
Just
sure.
thought I'd ask.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Sure.
Or I could just do a collage on it with glue.
You can do a collage on it with any color you want, but yes, with glue. Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Or show me what you've been working on. Pick it up. I'd love to see what you were working on. Ooh, Pat. All right, Pat, unmute and tell us what we're looking at. You're muted.
Okay, better.
There.
So,
Oh, you got bottle caps on there even. All right.
yeah, I love bottle caps. They're my thing. So I put several things together. I put the fabric and the mesh and the plastic and stitching. I just worked on one because I have a little trouble working that fast.
Okay, of course. Totally
It
understandable.
makes you think differently about throwing things down on the board.
Yes. Wonderful. I love the bottle caps. Yesterday I met, sorry, I'm just trying to turn this off. Yesterday I met an artist who paints on bottle caps, and they're beautiful, very delicate paintings, acrylic paintings on bottle caps.
I just did one. I don't have any more net because I used up my net last month making this.
Ooh, lovely.
And it's all bottle caps.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what did you use for the fins on the fish? What's that?
The what?
The on the top of the fish. That, yes. What is that?
You know when you go get a manicure, a pedicure, and they put the little toe
Oh my
thing?
God. Oh my gosh.
Brilliant. I love it. Thank you.
And this is I wear hearing aids, and the filters come in these little packages.
Yes. Yes, my mother's got those. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to have to steal them from her.
Yes, they make wonderful little bugs.
Thank you. That's wonderful. All right. Anybody else want to share what they're working on? Let's see.
Can you see that?
Bath and gallery. Let's see who's speaking up. Oh, Vidya.
Vidya.
Hold on. I'm going
Yeah,
to
this
spotlight
is
you for
mine.
everyone. 1 second. Let's see. Ooh, juggle. 20 minutes. Okay.
Lovely. Oh, look, I like the arrows with the juggle. That's good.
Yeah.
And this is with the fabric pieces.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
So I put
Oh, you got mesh on there too. And
the
mesh,
mesh and yeah, some thread as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's great. Anyone else? Maggie, let's see. Can you unmute yourself, Maggie?
There.
There you go.
You hear me? Yeah, it's falling apart, but anyway.
Yeah.
I used okay.
Oh, fun.
It's this is supposed to go up here. Anyway.
It's hard to keep it together, yeah.
I'll show you from I'll just lay it down and show you.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I did this one.
If there's somebody else, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. You put that back together and let's see.
Okay.
Oh, we have Sharon. Let's see, Sharon.
I did this one.
Oh, cool.
That's from a bread bag.
Yeah. I think I recognize it. Wonderful.
And then I did this one.
Oh, okay. Great. Oh, you got a great collection of mesh. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
I do a lot of garlic and ginger. So
Oh, I think
that's all.
ginger comes in a really lovely purple, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
That's the one I used. Yeah. And
That's
and garlic comes in white.
Yes. Yes. Anyone else want to share? So,
Oh.
go ahead.
Is ready.
Oh, yes. Yes. Let's see, Maggie.
Okay.
Okay. I'll wait for you to get the camera in place before I spotlight you for everyone. Ah, there we go. Okay. So let's see. Oh, I love all the raw edges. That's wonderful.
It's cardboard.
Cardboard.
I had painted it and used it for another collage, and then
Uh-huh.
the purple is plastic, and then the netting is from a fruit bag. And
Great.
this stuff is
Oh, it's packing tape. Isn't it packing?
paper, but
Paper. Yes. Yes.
it stretches. But
Yes.
not-
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great abstract collage. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, 1 second. Why does this keeps not letting me do what I want it to do? Second. There we go. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. Okay. Does anyone else want to share? Ellen, let's see.
So I've ordered some fabric from California and I got it in this beautiful container, which I used as the background.
Ah,
And you can tell my quilting influence.
yes, obvious, obvious. I love it. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, you have to leave now. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. I want to just do a plug for Repurposer Collective. I hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the possibilities of making art from these materials. You know, they're destined for the trash heap, but they're a really wonderful art material that I hope you'll consider using for your art practice. The doors to the Repurposer Collective, where you can find all of these master classes plus more, will open on October 4th. Our exhibition actually opens on October 4th as well. So I'm putting those two together, the doors opening and the exhibition. Oh, thank you. I'm not spotlighted. Let me spotlight myself. There we go. Come on, let me do this. Okay. So just quickly, there are 48 master classes that are in the Repurposer Collective now, and they're broken down by category, by all the various materials that I showed you today, plus more materials. And if you love to stitch, the Stitch Trainings Vault has 16 different stitches covered in detail, and that's machine and hand stitching. And I don't know why, but this is not letting me do this. Okay, here we go. Because I want to see you all. I don't want to see myself. I want you to see me, but I don't want to see myself. There we go. That's much better. Okay. And of course, in the Repurposer Collective, we also have monthly Zoom chats where we meet once a month for about an hour. And either I give a presentation, I have a guest speaker do a presentation, and sometimes we're just talking about what's going on in the collective. Like right now, we're all doing a collaborative project, which is going to be revealed on October 4th. So we've been talking a lot about that. We also have co-work circles, which are also about once a month, but they're more randomly. They're not on a specific date. And that's when I just open up Zoom for 3 hours and I'm working in my studio, and whoever can pop in and spend time with me, and we can work side by side and chat or sometimes leave the work behind and just chat. Whatever happens, happens. It's really wonderful to have a co-work circle. So back to our exhibit. Our first annual exhibit took place in March. Plans are already afoot for our second annual exhibit. And meanwhile, we have a collaborative project that's opening up in a few days. The doors to the Repurposer Collective will be open on October 4th, and that will be all online. And membership is $27 a month or $317 a year. It's totally up to you how you want to sign up, monthly or yearly. But if you do sign up yearly, you get a 20% discount on any other classes that I offer that are outside of the collective. So there's always benefits for the yearly subscription. So that is all that I have for you. And I really, really appreciate you all being here today. I hope if you are anywhere nearby, you can come and check out our exhibition in New Paltz, New York in person. If not, I do have a link online. The work of the members that are part of this exhibition is already on that link. That'll go up in a second. And the piece, the collaborative project will go there as soon as it's installed. So I don't have that yet. It's just our mock-up of what it's going to be. So if anybody has any extra questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I just really want to thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate. I love seeing you all.
What time is the exhibition on Saturday?
On Saturday, the opening is from 1 to 5 p.m.
1 to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'll try to do a live stream on my Zoom for a little bit to see but certainly not for the whole 4 hours.
Understood.
Yes.
Is that the one in New Paltz?
Yes, that is in New Paltz.
Okay. And how do you sign up? You'll send the link
to the Repurposer. Yes, I will send you. Yes, I will send you an email to when the doors are open, and you'll be able to sign up.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Sharon. Anybody else have any questions? All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
so welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for being here today, spending your Sunday with me. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.